Welcome back to 68 Cups of Blueberry Tea, where we sit down with driven, creative humans and explore the story behind the story. Today's guest has stood in Timor-Leste in two very different ways. The first time, he was here in uniform, serving as an infantry soldier in the Australian Army. This time, he's back with a microphone, travelling the world as a stand-up comedian, making rooms full of strangers laugh. Jarryd Goundrey's journey isn't your typical career pivot. From military discipline to the unpredictability of live comedy, from structure to spotlight, from silence to applause. His story is laid with passion, determination, transformation, and a fair bit of grit. Don't mention the R word. I mentioned it once and I think I got away with it. In this conversation, we talk about comedy, death on stage, providing opportunities for the next wave of comedians, inter-service rivalry, and what it really means to connect with an audience. This one's honest, it's funny, and it's thoughtful. So settle in. This is my cup of tea with Jarryd Goundrey. Go. Jarryd, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for coming to Dili and sharing so much laughter.
My pleasure. It's been 19 years.
Yeah.
19 years since the last time I was here.
Yeah.
And those 19 years went quick.
All right, well, can you take us back to what you were here for 19 years ago and how you are coming here, and it's entirely different, both your experiences and the Dili that you would be seeing?
Well, so 2007, whenever you're listening to this now, it's 2006. If someone comes across this in the internet in 10 years' time and finds me, I'd been in the army for maybe a year at this stage. And then obviously East Timor had sort of like its second round of turmoil, but it's had about 20 in its last 80 years. But after Interfet in 1999, political turmoil, more soldiers came in 2006, and I was in like one of the second rotations of that. And I was 19 years of age when I came here. And I was just a really, really low-end soldier. You know, it's been a real trip coming back here because like even just walking through a market was just something we didn't do. Like we didn't leave our compounds alone. We didn't leave our compounds not armed up, you know, and we were armoured vehicles, body armour helmets. And now I'm literally just drinking coconuts on the side of the road. It's a real trip. It's weird to get used to.
And what were your sleeping quarters like those years ago?
We had 30 guys who all ate protein 24/7 in a room. It was like an old school that we took over in Los Palos when we first got here. Flew into Dili, got into Black Hawks, went out into the east, and we made a new base out of a burnt out school. School had a soccer field, which is great for the choppers. The school had no roof. It had been burnt out. We went and made a roof. We sandbagged the whole place. We turned this thing into a functioning space. And there was 30 of us in the size of 2 classrooms, I imagine. And it was pretty chockers. And it was smelly. It smelled like boots and dudes. Boots and dudes. That's a scent you don't want to.
Boots and dudes.
Boots and dudes is a terrible. It's a good name for a bar.
Yeah, Boots and Dudes.
Yeah, like a line dancing club in Darwin.
Yeah, well, There are some great names going around. So we were at Spooners the other night.
Spooners, good name.
Yeah.
Good name.
So, but no, Boots and Dudes.
Boots and Dudes, yeah. Let's go down to Boots and Dudes on Thursday. It's line dancing. Yeah.
Well, there we go. But now you have your own room here this time.
I've got a bidet. I said that the other night. Things have come along so much that we used to have to go to a toilet in a hole in the ground, and then every day we used to burn it. We used to burn everyone's poo because that was just like we didn't have any running water or anything. And now I've come back, I'm in a hotel with a bidet, and it's things are different. Everything's changed.
Very different. Alrighty, but to go back even further, so you were in the army and now a comedian. Were you the class clown at school, or the quiet kid observing everyone before striking?
I think for the first, I came out of my shell. I bloomed late, some would say, and I was very quiet. I was always stuck in my imagination. I didn't do very well at school, which is interesting because, now I run a business, I have staff, I do all this sort of stuff. They just don't teach you that stuff at school. And I kind of learned it on the run. But at school, I was just distracted, was probably my main thing. I never went to the doctors, but they would have given me something. I was just in my imagination a lot. I used to come home from school and just be in the yard, talking to myself, doing stuff. I was Mum was worried, I think. She was like, I think we might need to get some specialists involved. And then my stepfather was like, we can't afford it. And I went, all right, we'll just let him go. And best thing that ever happened to me. It was great. You don't want to ever quash a kid's imagination, I think. And I think society does that a little bit. They're like, be serious. And it's like, no. There's nothing serious about this life. It's all a bit of fun. And then when I was a teenager, I went from being really uncool to cool pretty quick. And about year 11 or 12, something happened. I don't know. I got some swagger. Puberty came in well. And it was a bit of a class clown. But my grades suffered. But they were some of the best gigs I ever did in the schoolyard.
So looking back now, your classmates at the time, they wouldn't be terribly surprised how your career did turn out?
Well, I never imagined I would be here. We'll get into that a lot. But everyone I talked to from my military life, from my other work life, and from school just went oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I was like, I'm glad you knew because I didn't have any idea,
Wish you could have told me.
Yeah, that's it. And that's it's the vibe of life. Everyone thinks that they knew after you did it, but while you're doing it, everyone doubts you. So
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense. Well, what did the teachers write on your report cards?
Well, funny you mentioned this because before I was in Timor, I was actually at home in Perth, Western Australia, and Mum, as she does, pulls out this giant Tupperware box from the attic, and she's like, "Here's all your memories." And I was like, "All right, I'll go have a look." And there was a school report from the last year of my school, and I did drama class, which is probably the closest thing to what I do now. And Mr. Walker, shout out Mr. Walker, wrote on my year 12 drama class, he said, "Jarryd is a complete distraction to everyone around him, and I see him having no future in this industry."
Oh, Mr. Walker.
Eat your words, Mr. Walker. Eat your words. So, and they got a really good laugh out of that.
Yeah.
I was like,
oh, that's great. Well, when did you first realise that you could make a room laugh and that it actually mattered?
It was probably when I was in the military. So when I was in my training, it's very intense. It's very fun and interesting, but it also is very funny. And there's lots of people failing all the time and doing things. And everyone's always trying to have a good time when you're not allowed to. And I figured out quite early that I could do impressions. And I could do impressions of all the instructors. So that was kind of my thing, is I'd sort of gather people around and then put on their voices, and I'd be like, "Well, back in my day," that sort of stuff. And I had all of the characters going in there. And that was probably my first early gigs, which was doing this sort of stuff, until it came horribly wrong one day, because we had this drill sergeant whose voice used to break. So he would get us onto the parade ground and he'd be like, "Right, you guys." And it was just... And when you got to hold a straight face, when you're not allowed to laugh, it means you laugh more. And I thought it was a great idea. I didn't think anyone was around, in my defence. And I thought, well, I'll form the guys up and I'll start marching them around in character. And I got about halfway through, and then everyone that was there was just kind of had gone still and silent. And I thought they were just doing a bit. So I increased the performance to be like, "How dare you don't listen to me?" And that guy was right behind me and just popped in to pick up something from his office. Oh. And they were the best and most rewarding push-ups I've ever done.
How many?
Countless. I was all night. I was just in trouble, and I would have been in more trouble, but he literally had just come into work, and he's like, I can't be fucked here. Mm-hmm. Palmed me off to someone else to punish him, however. And Yeah. It's a good gig. Yeah. It was a great gig.
Well, I've heard your Kiwi accent, so I can highly recommend that one. But are you good at accents as well?
I do all right. I mean, I think the British accent is funny. It's always, with a British accent, you just finish it with a question. So it's like, it's good coffee there, isn't it? You know, like, and then it's just always those little questions at the end. I think of all of so England went to all of these countries. They exported their language and everyone went, we like what you've done with it, but we'll take it from here. So the Australian, Canadian, American, New Zealand, South African, let's call that like the major ones, right? Mm-hmm. Australia's like kind of in the middle. Like we know it's dumb, right? Like it's like, like doesn't make any sense. Like it's all silly, put O's on the end. Canadian's all right. Canadian's good, I think. South African's the worst.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that like they aren't like generally the most friendliest people ever.
No.
So then when you hear it, you're like, because they enunciate everything. Mm-hmm. My good comedian friend always says South Africans, it's like they have a pocket full of full stops. Because they're just after every single syllable, they just like to have
little balls. Well, have you performed over in South Africa?
No, never. I plan to. But I was in New Zealand recently, and what I thought was funny about them and their accent is that they don't think it's silly.
Bless.
Which we think it's quite silly, because it's a silly... The Maori accent's funny, but the white accent, it's very jarring. And it got voted sexiest accent 2 years ago in the world. Oh. And I was like, no one asked anyone outside of New Zealand that survey. It's terrible. You don't want that on top of you, you know. And they don't. So I'm trying to tell them, I'm like, you guys sound funny, like we all, and they're like, oh, like they don't think they sound ridiculous. Oh. And I like that for them.
Oh yeah, that is great.
You can live in that bubble.
Yeah, bless. Well, who made you laugh growing up? Was there a comedian, a family member, or chaos that shaped your humour? I mean, Adam Hills, Dame Edna, just throwing out some names. One of my first comedic loves I'd have to say, and probably to this day too, is still Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean. Look, he's a knight. He got knighted. He's Sir Rowan Atkinson, and if you get knighted for being funny, you're really funny. Because no one should get any accolades for this. It's silly. It's stupid, right? Like, we don't deserve any because we're not doing it for anyone else. We're just doing it for us, right? We're just having a really, really great time. So the fact that you can do it so well that the Queen has to be involved is super impressive. And Mr. Bean was the number one show in like 60 countries or something back in the day. Didn't use any words. It was relatable, translatable, like it was just pure genius. And I think we used to watch those on, repeat when we were kids and laugh. And we'd seen every move. Like we'd seen them so many times that like it was still great. And I think those jokes are the best when you can be like, yes, and it still surprises you, but because most comedy is the act of surprise. So when it lasts past that, it's really special. Yeah, and you're not wrong. Immediately coming to my mind is the skit where there's this huge symphony orchestra and the Chariots of Fire.
Yes. It's so genius, right? And, like watching Mr. Bean get awkwardly and horribly changed for like 5 to 7 minutes only in front of someone for only that man to then get up and be blind is great. Like it's just this tension pop, and it's beautiful. And Rowan Atkinson also has a great repertoire of spoken comedy as well. He's probably known for his non-verbal, but he, if you ever get on YouTube and want to see some really, really great comedy, he does like monologues, and they're brilliant in character. I mean, like Blackadder as well is genius, but yeah, he also invented people playing invisible instruments. So if you get onto YouTube and look up Rowan Atkinson invisible drum kit, it's got a ton, like I'm talking many tens and tens and tens of millions of views. And he just went on stage and played the drums in the air, and people hadn't seen it before. They were like, what's he doing? And now we would think that's quite normal to play the air guitar or whatever, but at some point he had an idea. He was like, and I would like to be in the room with people where he's like, so I'm going to play a drum kit. okay, cool. Do we need to order one? They're like, no, it's not there. I don't get it. Wait, I don't get it. And he's like, trust me, it'll be funny. It's like, all right. And then that sort of like belief in something so weird and new, like it's a pioneer.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Okay. A great idol to have there then. Well, so do you think that humor was confidence or defense, a layer of protection?
Oh, that's deep. It's both. It's always, I think when people are younger, it's a defense. And you see this a lot in school. You'll see like the kid with the learning difficulty who's like a menace. He's hilarious, right? That kid's, it's the Bart Simpsons of the world, right? And they're funny because they're like, don't look at me. They're like, look at me so much that you can't actually see me. And I think people do that with many different things in life. But yes, agree. But then later in life, it takes confidence. So it changes. But a friend of mine who's a guy I used to live with, he's a gay guy. He said to me, I said, gay people are so funny. I'm like, they're the funniest people in the world. And he goes, yeah, we had to be. And I said, why? And he goes, because we had to be funny. Otherwise, we were like persecuted, right? So we had to become crass and witty and funny just to for people to put their weapons down
and let that be our style.
Yeah. That's which is interesting, right? Maybe why you'll see like a lot of maybe like the Jewish community, for example, a massive population in entertainment and comedy and all that. Like there might be roots in that. Yes, defense. It's 100%. It has to be, right?
Well, what did young Jarryd think that he was going to be? Looking back, you talk to mates and they think, oh yeah, that checks out. But
I don't know. I still don't know, and I don't know if this is. Because I've had a few careers. So I spent 7 years in the army. Then I left that and I worked in restaurants. I was a fine dining chef. So I went from the infantry to being a chef to now a comedian. It's I don't know what I've ever wanted to do, to be honest. And right now I think I've got it, but if that changes, I'll just reinvent myself again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it the opportunity presented itself?
Yeah. I mean, it's passion, right? And you have to follow your passions in life, even if they aren't right. Like I thought when I left the army, I was so passionate about being a chef. And then I did it, and then I found out, I lost that passion. It was like a breakup, almost. It was to feel like you've dedicated so much of your life to like a relationship with something that didn't work out. Yeah. You changed, it changed. Mm-hmm. It's heartbreaking, but you got to say goodbye and move on and find the next love. So I don't know. I don't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, or I just didn't want to be where I was. I just wanted to keep moving.
Yeah. Well, from your 7 years in the army, what part of that life does still live with you today, even when you are on the stage holding a microphone instead of a rifle?
There's some things that don't leave, like precisions to timings. Like I was coming here to see you and I was like, I'm running 2 minutes late. This is unacceptable. I was like, I didn't have any reception, which in my head is like, we're down on comms. And I was like, because otherwise I'd be like, see you in 2. Yes. And I'd be like, all right, cool. That puts the anxiety in a pocket.
Yeah. But not being able to have that contact.
Oh, it's terrifying, to be honest. Like that sort of stuff that's drilled into you, especially as a young man, and men develop slower than women. So by the time we get to the military at like 18 years of age, we're still growing into it. Mm-hmm. So those neural pathways are deep and they stay with you a little bit. That stuff stays. I'd like to think it's given me a good work ethic. I mean, I've done a lot of great things in my life. I've excelled, which is nice. I've put my mind to things and worked at it. And I maybe that's the army, maybe that's some form of deep insecurity, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, what about the military being all about structure, hierarchy, and order, whereas comedy is chaos, vulnerability, and risk? Which world is actually harder? Which can you adapt to the best?
Oh, the army's easier, right? Because if you need to be somewhere, the army will tell you what time, what to wear, what to bring, and what you're going to do. Sometimes I'll tell you what you're going to do. Generally, how long it's going to go for, what's the outcome. It's all there, right? And that's really easy because all you need to do is tick the boxes. I work for myself now, and I'm my own boss. If I literally wake up in the morning and don't do anything, nothing happens. Like nothing goes wrong, but also nothing goes forward. And it's very, very, very difficult to go from that one to the other one, to retrain your brain to be like, we need to be our own boss. It's also its downfall because you can't switch off sometimes. Or when you switch off, you feel lazy and all these sort of things. But no, hierarchy is... But in saying that, the blessing in it is now that I can work quite quickly. I think you might know this in the sector that you work in, but everyone's waiting for someone's approval on something for the littlest thing to happen moving forward. I don't have to do that. Like, I just go, what are we doing when? Yep, cool, I'll be there. Lock it in. And like do sometimes deals worth like significant amounts of money in 45 minutes. And when like lots of people who have that freedom to make those decisions get together, that's why the private sector works so well, because they just, like, it just moves, right? They're like, it's all about the bottom line and about getting the product first. Whereas like government's not. There's no real product. The army doesn't have a product, and it has a budget, but it doesn't have a P&L, like profit loss, right? It's just, is it there? Yep. Is it still going to be there? Yep. How much did we blow it out by? Well, that's good that year. Yeah, great. We only lost 20 billion this year. Great job, guys. And it's a weird transition to get into.
Yeah. Well, from being in the army, on Friday night, you had some pretty strong material about the Navy. So,
bless them.
What did the Navy do to you?
So it's what they didn't do to me. No. What are the military will they pit each other against one another all the time. And my theory is it's very necessary, right? So it's a mechanism that they use. So then one day, like if you have to go into battle, you can just like be like, stuff them, right? So everything's a competition. So even if like you're in one section and someone's in another section of the same unit, you're like, everyone's always like, we're better than them. And even if you don't like someone in your section, you won't let anyone else tease them. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, so we will tease them.
Yeah.
And then someone else will be like, you've got a ginger. He's like, he's our ginger. Get off it. Get off it. You know, so there's a lot of loyalty. And the Navy's very funny. They're weird. Is the main thing is you have like half of them that are in submarines. They're trapped in like a tube of farts for like months on end. It damages their brain cells. They don't see any vitamin D. The guys that are on ships, they're trapped with each other too much, and then they pull into weird ports, and then they like party for 4 days, and it's like they're all strange and they smell weird. And I just want them to know that.
Your point has been made.
Yeah. But I don't dislike them for it. Yeah. That's your thing. And I know you'll defend that. You're like, you know, but they're like, yeah, but they're our people that smell weird. And, you know, so that's... I got a lot of time for them though, and they've embraced me as well. I said I'm doing this tour, and like I tease the Navy all the time, and one of their first responses was, "Would you like a tour of a ship?" Oh. And I said, "Yeah, absolutely." And you know, went down to their base and walked around and saw how they actually live and all this sort of stuff. So it's the rivalry is good, the banter's great, but the love is still there.
Well, that would actually help with your content, though, having evidence-based, because having a more familiarity and understanding of the ships or submarines, then I'm sure you'd be able to find little things to make use of.
Being a comedian is great because it's so hard to switch off because you're always like, what
could I use here?
What's happening here? What's actually happening here? Because comedians, we see the same thing as everyone else, but our frequency is lower. We're on a different spectrum. We're looking for the social weirdness and the cues. So it's very hard to... Everything's funny to a comedian. There's nothing off. If you ever want to have a messed up time and lose faith in society, drive in a car with 4 comedians going to a gig that's 5 hours away, and each one of them's getting $100 for the night, but the trip cost $120. they're the happiest people in the world, but it's a race to the bottom about how crazy an idea is, if that makes sense. Everything is funny to us, and then our job is actually to make it funny to the normal people.
Mm-hmm. For your audience.
Yeah. Comedians, I can't release stuff that I've spoken to with other comedians about, because we're like, it's not funny now, but we know it is. Now we just need to translate it to the muggles. And that's more than half the battle. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so now that we are in that phase, so what do you remember about your early days stepping onto a stage that wasn't yet yours?
It wasn't yet mine. Explain what not yet mine.
So
are you saying in like a sense that I deserve?
A warm-up act.
Oh, okay, great. Well, so there's a couple of different levels of comedy. So I've been fortunate enough to go through, most of them now. So how you start comedy. So there's no school. You don't go study. This isn't like you don't get a, Cert 4 in laughter. You don't go to uni. All you do, and this is what brought me to it in the first place, is I was working in a restaurant and there was a room down the road on a Tuesday night, and it was open mic comedy where there was a list of paper and a pen, and you just went and write your name down, and you get 4 minutes on stage in a spotlight, and you can do whatever you want. And this would pack out. There'd be like 70 or 80 people in this room, because it was also a hangout where like the pros would come down with like a notebook. So you could like watch a show and it'd be like 5 people you've never ever heard of, and then like Dave Hughes would come in and do some stuff. So from an audience point of view, it was really interesting. And we used to go down and watch it. And I was just like, what is this activity? Like, what the hell is going on here? I've always been a bit of an adrenaline junkie, but I was like, this is next level. Like, these people are dying. We used to go for the carnage. Me and a couple of mates would go down there and we would laugh all week. We're like, remember that guy that was trying to convince us that, like he's half dolphin? Like, these people were just coming on stage with ideas that didn't make any sense.
So laughing at them, not with them?
We would laugh at them afterwards, but in the moment we were dying with them. Like, it was almost like, you've watched The Office, right?
Yeah.
Imagine being live. Like, there was like the live The Office.
Okay, all right.
It's painful.
Yeah.
Like, it actually hurts your soul. Mm-hmm. And it's cool. It's super addictive. And I was like, I just thought it was the most ridiculous thing you could do with your life. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I need to have a go. I need to, whatever spectrum this is, whatever end of the spectrum this feels like. Is it shame? Is it excitement? Is it a rush? Is it like a sick, weird thing that people do? I was like, I need to find out. I'm too interested in this whole activity. So I wrote my name down one day and got up on stage, and I just bombed. Like 4 minutes doesn't sound like a long time. And then when you're just talking to nothing, like nothing is happening, the audience is going, and you can see them and they're going, they wince. And you say something and they go, and like some ladies will cover their mouth, like people get physically uncomfortable. And and all those eyes are on you, it is so, it's like an ice bath for the soul. Mm-hmm. You're like, I got to get out of this. I was like, wait, your time's up, I'm out of here, right? And then you're like, woo, it's good for my dopamine level. And it's not. It's terrible for you. So I did that and I just died. And I came off and I was like, yeah, okay, that was something. And I talked to the comedians afterwards, and they were all talking about their jokes that they tried. And I was like, jokes, I better get some of those. I feel like I hadn't done it. I was funny at work, and I was like, this is enough. Because I'd watch people die on stage and I was like, nah, I'm way funnier than this. And then I just went on there and just, no one's like, what are you talking about? Because like when you're funny with your friends, you have context, right? So if you have a friend who's funny.
Got some background.
Michelle's, that's such a Michelle thing. Or like you're telling a story about Michelle and you have years of context. So you just laugh. You're like, of course that's what happens, right? But to strangers, you don't have any of that. So you're just a bag of words that's sweating. And it's uncomfortable. So I was like, all right, this ice bath sucks. it really hurt for like 2 days as well. I was like, it was shame. I was like, I embarrassed myself. It was embarrassment.
It's like, and you didn't want to be able to have to face anyone?
Well, I went there. I went there with my friends.
Yeah.
And they just watched me die. And as you know, what you can imagine what your friends are like. They thought that was the best thing they'd ever seen. They were like, this is so good.
Well, they have new content on you now.
So essentially I bombed for a week. Because they were like, remember when you... I was like, oh...
I was there.
I was like, yeah, I know, it's hurtful. And I went, all right, cool, so next week's going to be different. So I waited a week and then get back on stage, go again. Died. Again. I was like, and that's when I discovered, I was like, maybe this activity is extremely difficult. Because I'd gone from working as a chef to working as a fine dining restaurant. In my mind, I'd done 2 of the harder jobs in life. And then I hit that stage and I went, oh, wow. Like, this is a new level. You know, like I'm a krill in this pond. You know, I'm not even a fish in the big fish in a little, I'm just a microorganism.
Yeah. And
the
big whale, it's swallowing me.
Didn't even know it happened. Yeah. And I bombed again and I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. And then I said to myself, let's do it a third time. And like, if this nothing happens here, it doesn't matter. Like, what a great story. The guys will tell it forever. Like, oh, Jarryd, he tried stand-up comedy once. Remember that? Yep, never forget. And the week between gig 2 and 3, I had like this 1 page of like ideas and jokes and things. And I don't think I've worked harder on anything in my entire life for 7 days than this thing.
For this 4-minute piece?
4 minutes, yeah. It was about 3 minutes 30 in the end. And I went up on the third time and, it went all right.
Okay.
It went all right.
Got some chuckles?
And it went, the other end of the spectrum went to the other side. From this, like, shame, rush, embarrassment, almost like I would like to vomit. That was so intense for my self-esteem. To... wow, what a rush. Like, that's cool. And, you know, I started to get the audience moving and then, like, I could do something with the sound or the feeling that I've made from them. And I was like, okay, this is cool.
All right.
I was like, this is cool. This is cool. And I went back a few more times. And then after a month, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life. So I quit my job. And someone had told me that if this place existed on a Tuesday night, but they existed in every suburb of Melbourne around the place on different nights. And I was like, well, I need to do this as much as I can. I know this is going to take me many, many years. Comedians are always talking like it's a 10-year journey, like, you know, it's going to take that. So I went, well, I got to get started now. So I quit my job at night and got a morning job, worked in a cafe. And I went and did stand-up comedy 6 nights a week, sometimes 3 times a night. For a couple of years. And that was in hindsight, the best decision I ever made.
Wow, that's incredible.
I know, right?
You kept going back.
Yeah, well, I don't know, it's not resilience. I don't know if I believe in resilience.
Okay.
I've got an interesting view on it.
Yeah.
Resilience is something you say after you've won. Okay?
Yep.
And people will be like, wow, you must be so resilient. And they don't ask people that didn't make it that, even though the steps were probably the same. Okay? So it's like resilience is stupidity plus time equals result.
Okay.
And then you can call it resilience, right? But I've been doing stand-up comedy for 9.5 years. I'll be doing it for 10 years in October. It's really worked out for me. You know, I have a really amazing life. I get to work when I want. I've never earned so much money before in my life. Like, you know, it opens doors that you've never imagined. You know, there's certain people that think I'm cool. And that didn't happen until about 7.5 years in, right? So if I had quit at 7.3 years in, right? Everyone would have said, there's no shame in that. Like, you gave it a really good go and that's fine. And then you have to go do something else, right? But you just never know where you are until the point happens of when the dam breaks, right? And I probably got lucky because most people are like, it's 10 years. And I was like, well, I'm doing this forever. So like, it doesn't really matter. And at the 4-year mark, the 3-year mark, the 2-year mark, all of this time in that part, there was no indication that it was working. I would go and do all of these gigs. I wasn't earning any money, nothing that you could call money. Like you get paid sometimes, but you just put it back into the thing.
You got living expenses.
Yeah, like I was earning negative money. I was working. I had a very, very serious hobby forever, right? My parents were like, what are you doing, man? You know, like I'd gone from 2 serious careers. I had, you know, some form of faux prestige from the things that I'd done. You know, I turned my back on all of that to just do this thing that I was like, this is exciting all the time. And even when it's terrible, like it's on my plane of existence that I'd like to be in. There was no indication that I was on the right path whatsoever. In fact, logically, it was dumb. And the fact that I just picked the illogical path and did it for me meant that I could stay in it long enough for something to happen. And yeah, it was just like momentum and passion. You know what I mean? I believed I could do it. I had seen in my soul that I was like, I think we can do this. And it's very difficult when you're at a party and people are going, so what's your backup plan? And like, there's just so much doubt flying at you from everywhere. There's so much doubt flying at you from yourself. No one believes in you. And then after you make it, everyone said they did, right? And that's okay. And that's fine because it's got nothing to do with them. It's got everything to do with you, right? So resilience is the word that you call stupidity after it's worked.
Mm-hmm. So what would you call it if not resilience?
It's faith. Because like, think of someone who wants to run 100 kilometers for whatever reason. There's freaks out there that are just like, I'm the runner, I'm the cyclist. They're freak. You're a cyclist, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah. So you're a freak, right? Because there's no reason anyone should do it, right? But you want to do it. It's something you want to do. It gives you the right chemical makeup to make the rest of life a little bit better, right? If you do what you want to do, it makes the stuff you don't want to do better, right? Like sometimes work's crap and being lonely is shit and, you know, dealing with all of the little weird mental intricacies you pick up along in life is hard. Like that's hard for everyone. So you need to have a source of sort of positive mental income coming in to sort of balance the book. And if you have faith that I'm going to run X amount of kilometers every week and then I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. Why? So I can do this thing. I did the thing. It doesn't matter to anyone else, but it matters. It's everything to you. And I was just fortunate enough that the thing that was everything to me was what I did with my life. Does that make sense?
That's awesome. And especially because maybe I would assume that if it hadn't happened at the 7.5 years, I think you would still be doing it, wouldn't you?
I think so. I mean, damn, I was poor. I was
in Melbourne.
I was it hurt how poor I was. You know, like I was making decisions with money being like, I lost all my money in COVID. So I decided to keep doing, so I was in Melbourne, my backup was hospitality and I was a comedian. And those things just disappeared overnight. And I was working essentially 2 jobs. I was earning a comedy income and I was earning a normal income. So my means were like covered, but when that was gone and I was on the bare minimum, I was literally, when you work hard and then you have to ask for a handout, like it sucks. Mm-hmm. You know, it's okay if you're a dole bludger, that's your life. But like, if you don't have any experience in it, you're like, ugh. So what happened in that time was like the worst time of my life and the greatest time of my life, because I was like, chaos is just such a perfect opportunity. And I went from being like, wow, I have to work almost all day, every day just to have a sniff at my dreams, to like, oh, there's nothing to do. What's everyone else doing? And then like, that was the real explosion of like online content. And I was like, well, I guess as a 35, 35-year-old guy, like, I guess I'll start making TikToks. Like, that's not cringy. You know, mum's already like, I'm worried about you. I'm like, well, no, it's cool. We've got a plan. We're making TikToks. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's dumb, right? It's illogical. The logical thing to do would be like, what industry is currently booming? Should I go in there? Would I work as a labourer? Like, what's the pivot? And I was like, I think if I do this, it'll work. I believe that. I was like, oh, it has to work. I mean, if I suck at it for long enough, I'll get good. And in that time was when, you know, I had like a viral, like first thing went viral. And, you know, now that was the thing that changed my entire existence, was just the movement forward in that period of time to be like, the dream's on fire. Mm-hmm. How do we cope? How do we keep going on? And, you know, that ended up being now the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And when COVID had finished, I had some, you know, savings in my bank that were gone. I had practically no money, but I'd picked up at least sort of like 25, 30,000 followers online. And I was like, wow, people will enjoy, for the first time ever, I'm not someone's opening act. You know, people were like messaging me being like, I love what you do. Like, how cool is this? And I was like, well, I'll go on tour and see what happens. And I didn't have enough money to go on tour. So I sold everything I had. And I could afford to book the venues. I could afford to do the marketing, but I couldn't afford any accommodation. And I was like, well, I used to be in the infantry. I'll sleep on my car. And I went homeless for 6-7 months.
While touring.
Yeah, and toured. You know, and sometimes the gigs were just making enough to get to the next place sometimes. Like, it was like, that was dumb. That's dumb, right? If your kids wanted to do that, you would be like, can we sit down? You know what I mean? Like, love would have intervened for them. Mm-hmm. You know, and I felt that in people in my life. They were like, what do you need? And I was like, I can do...
A place to stay?
Yeah, do you want to... And I was like, if I stay with you, you will be a distraction from this, because I can't have any negativity in this, because I think I'm on the right path. Okay? So I would rather be alone and powerful than with you guys and being eroded. And second best decision I ever made. You know, like, that tour like paid for itself and then paid for half of the next one. I'm like, well, okay, we're on here. And I was doing like 20 people would come to a show. And then I'd drive 500 kilometers for another 20 people, you know, but I was like, oh, you know, $30 a ticket by 12. I was like, we're making $600 tonight. I was like, we're killing this, you know, and we're like, cool, we've got $200 worth of fuel and that and everything. And I was like, I'm glad I don't have a hotel, because that would be that's my profit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then the next tour, it was like, you know, 35 people. And then, you know, something just clicked, and I just, you know, I did like a gig in front of 400 people one night last year. And I was just like, thank fuck I didn't think this through. Do you know what I mean?
If you had done a pros and cons list.
If I hadn't asked ChatGPT, this is why I have a funny relation with AI. I see a lot of my friends using it for strategy, and I'm like, dude, don't do it, man. They're going to tell you the smart thing to do, right? And like, you need to take some risks. Risk is like everything, right? And you know, like, don't ask AI, because it's too. It doesn't have the human element of like, let's just do it.
Just wing it.
Just wing it, right? And that's what all the great stories about, you know, for anything, for careers, for love, you know, like, ask ChatGPT, should I just move to another country and go see this woman that I've texted 6 times and we had this really great night 3 years ago? It's going to be like, no, that's a terrible idea. But those are great books.
Yes.
Yeah, they're really great. They're really great stories. And if you meet those people when you're older and you're like, how did you meet? Like, mm-hmm. That's it. Yeah. Like, it's risk, right? And that's also where all the pain is. Mm-hmm. There's like, which are also great books and are also great songs and all the rest of it. But
the pain of sleeping in the car.
That was so painful.
Did you at least have a station wagon?
I had a van, but I in process of selling I bought equipment. So I had I could go to a pub and have speakers and sound and lights and all the rest of it. I went in there and I made a gig out of places, because the comedy clubs would we don't know who you are. But the pub would be like, yeah, we've got an empty function room. And I'm like, great, I'll just perform there and see what happens. And, you know, standing on the corner of it, handing out flyers to people, being like, do you want to come to my comedy show tonight? I'll give you some free tickets. And then those people coming and being like, that was great, or whatever, is what a wild life. Second best decision I ever made. Second best, but like not a smart one.
No.
There was no reason on a financial planner would have said, I don't think I'd like, don't tell anyone you're my client. This is bad for my business. This is bad for your business and mine.
So let's just not talk.
Yeah. And, but I just like, I'd just be nothing without it. I'd be nothing.
Having taken that risk.
It's dumb. So like, and people have said to me, they're like, you're so resilient. And I'm like, I don't think you understand how much people didn't have that opinion when it wasn't working. You know, other people, and you hear it, you see it. Like, doubt is probably the number one thing that stops anyone from achieving anything they want with their life. It's just, like, we have so much self-doubt without adding anyone else into the mix.
Influenced by external doubt?
Of course, right? And comparison, right? And it's, you know, the internet's wonderful for this. Jump on anyone you admire's page and be like, oh, I want to start a podcast, but I don't have that level of podcast. And it's like, yeah, neither do they. Like what's their story? You know, what's their thing? What illogical decision did they make? Yeah.
To make it work.
Yeah, it's like logical insanity. Yeah.
Well, putting yourself on TikTok and getting thousands and thousands of viewers, but how does it feel in terms of security and safety, putting yourself out there to so many people?
I'll tell you what's harder than being online. So I was telling you before the podcast started. So at the moment, we get about 5 to 10 million views a month, right? So I make stuff, and that's how many people watch it. I'll tell you what's harder than that. Doing the same thing and 5 to 10 people watching it. Because you're like, I probably know those people. Like the 5 to 10 million are like their statistics. But when 250, 300, you're like, I reckon my brother's one of them. You know what I mean? Like, that's hard. Like, it's way harder. I mean, when I first started making content, it was one of the proudest decisions I ever made. I said to my mate, Jeremy, I said, I'm going to make 100 videos and see how it goes. I'm not going to look back until I get to 100. I'm just going to make 100 videos. And, like, no one was watching them, hey. Months. And I was like, okay, cool, sweet, try something different. And, like, if I got a comment, I'd be stoked. And I was just, I should, like, once again, you get to 98 and you quit. No one thinks you're a loser. In fact, they're probably like, yeah, you should.
It's like,
but I was just so frustrated with it one day that I was like, I know I can do this. Why can't I do this? Right. And I was trying all this convoluted stuff and all the rest of it. And then I just had this thought one day and I was like, well, I know all this stuff about the military. Maybe I'll make a video about that and I'll just see what happened. And I went to bed that night and I didn't check it because nothing was happening. Like, there's nothing to check. I went to bed that night. I woke up in the morning, 980,000 views overnight. I had like fucking messages from people that I hadn't heard of from ages. I had a panic attack.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in trouble. I was like, and my first thing was, is this a good viral or is this a bad viral? Because there's two types of viral. There is definitely two types of viral. They're like, okay. You know what I mean? And then I was going to the comments and I was like, hey, this is really good. This is all right. And then I remember clearing out the notifications on TikTok. And then if I scrolled my finger up to refresh it, it would immediately go back to 99 plus notifications. Like, it was in the midst of going viral. And I couldn't keep up with the comments. And then people were talking amongst themselves in the comments. Like, and I'm like, this is no longer own this. This is just a moment in the history of the internet, which doesn't mean anything either, right? And it was like weird and strange, but it was enough validation to be like, all right, we can stay in the game. I think I joke it was about video 42, but I don't really know what it was. I was doing 3 a week, so that's probably it was months and months and months into this journey. I'd figured I could do 100 videos in a year, so it was probably around maybe halfway where it just went boom, and it was like, okay. And then I was like, maybe we've got this. And then the next couple didn't do so well, and I was like, okay. And then like got a little nibble here and there, and then, I've made 1,000 videos now.
Using the military.
Yeah, and just like following, and like I guess like I found my voice. And I didn't know it at the time, but like no one in the Australian military was doing anything funny.
Okay.
And people were like, "Oh, you're our guy," and I'm like, "Am I?" I was like, "Oh, I was just scraping the barrel," and I just stumbled across it. And I guess I'd failed so many times that I found the recipe by accident.
Okay.
Is that resilience? I don't know. Is that stupidity? Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. Like I guess there's a bit of authenticity that comes into play. Like I was trying to do this funny stuff. And then when I just made something where I didn't have to think about it, I was more just reciting an old story. That was it. People went, yeah, great. What a great storyteller. This guy's a great storyteller. And I was like, am I? I don't Am I?
Oh, that's great to hear.
Okay, thanks, man.
If you think so.
Yeah, cool. I guess I'll keep telling stories. And, that was the third best decision I ever made. So.
Well, would you call it a niche? You had found your niche?
Yeah, I'd found my niche for sure. Yeah. Like I'm pretty, like, in that community, I'm like somewhat famous. And I'm like fully by accident. Yeah, never set out to go, here's X, Y, and Z. And I think that helps you stay in the game too, is that if I'd started comedy on day one and then said, this is what I need, like nothing happened the way I thought it could or would or should. Like it was all just a tangent. Everything was a tangent that just presented itself. So if the path isn't able to be followed, then why have one in the first place?
Well, do you face any backlash from the military? No,
it's pretty overwhelmingly positive.
Nice.
Like I don't take myself seriously, so when someone else does, it makes me laugh. Like occasionally someone will be like, some people will miss the joke, and they'll be like, "That's what you said back there was bloody incorrect," and I'm like, "Yeah, it's like irony or satire or whatever." So yeah, I don't take it very seriously. So when someone does it, I just get a kick out of it, to be honest. But yes, 99% overwhelmingly positive, which is great. Yes, what a wonderful gift to me. You know what I mean? Well,
is it also, do you get to cater for the veterans as well?
Yeah,
in a way.
Yeah. It's been amazing actually. This road is still very hard. Like the doubt is there all the time. Like I perform 5-6 times a week sometimes, and every show I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. Like, are we going to bomb tonight? Is this sucks? Like I've got to, like the bigger the shows get, the more pressure happens. And I've been in a growth sort of pattern for a long time now that I have never been able to get used to the last audience before it's a little bit bigger now. So that imposter syndrome kicks in a lot. When you put your own name on something, like when you're an open act, you're like, they don't remember you. Even if you're good, they don't remember you were there. They went to see someone else. But when you're the guy, I'm like, people have paid money for this. Good money. They've got babysitters. They've went for dinner earlier. They have done a lot of work. Like time is the most precious currency and they're spending it on me. And I'm taking all their money. It's very nerve-wracking. It's always unstable. And what was my point on that? What was I talking about?
Well, we started off with the veterans, but then
the veterans to have that. So I never feel safe, right? So when the veterans come out and they say to me after the shows, or they'll message me in and they say, "Thank you for coming," and I'm like, "Why are you thanking me? I'm thanking you. Like you've changed my life." You know what I mean? Like like don't thank me. Like you've made an existence of mine that I could never, imagine in my wildest dreams. Like it's really incredible what they've done for me, and they think I'm the one that's helping them out. Like it's weird. It's so strange to me.
Well, then also looking back, so you built your platform going online with TikTok. So you made an offhand comment about maybe being taken over by AI one day.
Yep.
So I appreciated the evening itself. So a group of us all gathering together, having a few drinks, having a dinner, and then just having lots of laughter. Do you think that we will get overtaken not overtaken by it, but we'll still want to see a physical human being there, 100%. Right?
I think AI is going to be a net positive for live performance because I think that the internet's going to get a bit more saturated with things that aren't real. I think that things like algorithms that are powered by AI will more and more trim what you can say online. And there will be a massive renaissance in live entertainment because it's the only place you'll be able to get it. It'll be like Prohibition in the 20s in America. They're like, you can't drink. And it just made everyone want to drink. You know what I mean? They're like, fine, we'll get dressed up and drink. We'll go down alleyways and drink then. Like, it was like, and then everyone went, well, we better let, like, yeah, you like don't, like, entertainment's booming at the moment too. I was seeing this in comedy clubs as well. Like, you see this in music, like in Australia. Like, I feel like there's a musical artist doing an arena nearly every week. You know, and like old bands, Pearl Jam, new people, like just selling out. Like Taylor Swift is a thing. Like it's and there's once again it's more niche, like it's niching down more so where people are like, I'm a Swiftie. Mm-hmm. And you go there and there's just like this joy that everyone feels in this moment because they're like, yeah, they're there for them, but they're there for it. And they're there for each other. They are identifying that night as being a fan. Comedy is booming in Australia at the moment. It's booming around the world because you're not allowed to joke at work anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Which is probably a good thing because the jokes were pretty gnarly for a while there. And then people were like, I don't feel comfortable with this. So they took it out of the workplace. Mm-hmm. So now you got to go see it live. Mm-hmm. So people will come. It's the Prohibition effect. You're not allowed to do it. Well, we'll have to go to this basement comedy club in Melbourne to see people talk about naughty stuff. Like it's a thrill. Like, oh, how cool is this? You know, like we're in a bar with like jokes, like comedy is just packing everywhere around the place. It's amazing. In a time when more and more people are consuming things online as well. Yeah. So I don't think AI's got a long way to go before that is a threat. But I think it's going to be, we're going to see some wacky stuff happen, right? Because every generation's had this, like remember rock and roll came around in the 1960s. Do we mind if we go on a tangent?
Absolutely.
Rock and roll came out in the 1960s, right? And people were like, it's evil. You know, like Elvis came out and like people before them were like, nah, he shakes his hips. This is crazy, right? And then every generation wants to have something new and push the boundaries. Like for whatever it is. And then like the older you get, the more just by default you become conservative because your views change, right? And I think that AI can grab everything that exists and recreate it, right? But it can't kind of make new stuff. So you will see, this is just a weird prediction, that you will see music that comes out in 15 years when AI is fully like, we can make every country song, we can do R&B, we can do all the rest of it. That new level of music will be so wild because the kids of that generation will want something that they can hold on to and listen to. And we will then be older and go, this is crap.
What we grew up with.
And they'll think we're dumb and we'll think they're dumb. And that's exactly what's happened forever.
Absolutely, always.
Over and over and over again. Every generation thinks they're the best one before them and the kids these days are going to ruin it all. I read a news article from the late 1800s that was pretty much condemning the radio. They said, this is crazy. Kids these days. It said kids these days are just going to be sitting in front of the radio and listening to the baseball. They won't be out there playing baseball. And I was like, I went on a deep dive on the internet about this. Some Roman philosopher were like, kids these days, you know, they don't want to go out and conquer people anymore. They just want to sit around and have orgies, you know, and I'm like, every generation, it's the same, you know, and we're going to have to get older one day
and adapt
and be the people that think we had it right, you know, and the people before us didn't, because that's how life always works and it's going to keep going on. And technology can never change the heart, right? No matter how much AI can do things, it's not going to like change how you feel when you know, lock eyes with someone really, really cool. Yeah. Like it's not going to make the turmoil that we really get invested in. And I don't think it's going to create new and crazy ideas like in comedy.
Not be separating us, but still bringing us together.
Yep. Yeah. So that's my prediction. I hope I'm right. Because the other option is we all become like lobotomized, sanitized people and become slaves to it. I hope it's option A.
And you had a good time?
We had a great time. We had a really, really great time in it. But yeah, so I try and limit it. And I think traditional creators will flourish because if you go online and everything's normal, people are going to start to crave community, and they're going to be, these little creators are going to have these people where like, I follow a guy on YouTube who is sailing around the world by himself in like something that he half made and shouldn't, and he has Starlink, and he just uploads videos, and there's it's just him with a camera being like, so we're in the middle of the Pacific today, and yep, no wind again. And I'm like, you're gonna die, like, dude, like your boat's half the size of a whale, and I'm hooked on it because I'm like, I can't do that, but I'm like, yeah, I like this guy, and like me and 45,000 other people are following along, and no one else knows he's doing it.
And hopefully he gets going. He keeps going.
Or he'll never put a video up one day and we have to assume he's dead. Like, and that's kind of what we're in it for as well. We're like, he's like, oh, big storm approaching, and he's made this boat. Like, it's just a terrible idea. It's very illogical. It's a very illogical thing to do. And on paper it sucks and his parents are worried. But might be the best thing he ever does, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I always ask people, like, I don't know why, whenever you get any sort of form of success, people always ask you for your opinion, and I'm like, don't
do comedy.
I was like, don't listen to me. I'm like, don't listen to anyone, to be honest. Like, don't listen to anyone. If you want my opinion, don't listen to anyone.
I just took a hell of a lot of risks, and it came through in the end.
Yeah.
Because of self-belief.
But I also failed like a ton of them. You know what I mean?
Way.
Well, like the content stuff. It's like, I would be like, this is it, and then just die. Like, those gigs that I just did that didn't work. And then after that, I did 300 more gigs, and they were like 50-50. Like,
is it because of the audience at the time or the content that you were trying with them?
It's because I was bad at it.
Okay.
It's because I was learning in front of people.
Okay.
It was because I was terrible at what I was doing, because I was an amateur and I was learning as I went.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
how can you bring an audience back on board with you?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know now, kind of. I know how to not lose them. But you build all of those skills in the ones that don't work, right? And that's true with everything in life. You learn nothing from your failures except that you have validation, and it gives you confidence to move to the next thing. But in your failures, you go, "Ooh, okay, what will I do differently next time?" Right? And that's where it's all built from. But those audience gigs where, like, sometimes in those early days, like, the gigs aren't great, it's something we call ambush comedy. So they have these open mic nights where it's like there's a microphone in the corner and there'll be people in this bar and they didn't know it was happening. Okay. And then a light comes on and all of a sudden 12 amateur comedians file through. Okay. And these people are like, we're just trying to have a quiet drink. Oh. And those gigs suck.
Oh, okay.
And you need to really start developing a tool bag of, like,
okay,
no one's listening.
And they don't want us here.
And they don't want to listen. And it's like, if you can win that crowd over, if you can get some chuckles in that room, like, you're almost a god. And yeah, I used to do that all the time.
Well, is it a matter of, do you think you can read people well? Not just like reading the room, the atmosphere of the audience, but do you think that you can read people? Do you need to be able to? Or
Yes, 100%. It's almost the whole thing. Like, the material's a large part of it, and you need it, and that's kind of the thing. But it's an overlay on a people skill, as opposed to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not so much just humour, but how you can work with the people and carry them along with the joke.
If you don't know what the energy of a room is, like, what are you then supposed to do with it? Then you're hoping that whatever you're doing will work. But if you can read a room, then you can apply, if you can reach into the tool belt and you can pull out exactly what you need. And that's how you go from being okay to being good. Okay. Otherwise, the other one's not up to you, but then the other side is premeditated or, like, proactive. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even so, one thing that you do is that you provide a warm-up opportunity for some local comedians that are just growing. And
one of my favorite activities in the world is to watch people who don't really know. And because I was there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how do you receive that for them? Do you give them feedback?
First of all, that's not a great idea. That's not the right thing to do.
Okay.
The right thing to do, as in like, what's the best thing for the gig? The best thing to do for the gig is to have like amazing people who are incredible, and it's like boom, 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 and then it just builds up, pop. Like that's what it is. That's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. But when I started, I couldn't open for anyone. I had to do these ambush gigs, these open mic gigs, all this sort of stuff until I could prove it. And I just sort of said to myself, I said, if I ever get to this point, I'm going to make sure that I give back. And I would like to put myself in an opportunity that I want to be able to get on after anyone. I don't care. Like sometimes some people have just really stunk the room up. And I've had to just go up there and mop their blood up first, and then do my show. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be good. I want to be good in any situation. So if I can give back and do that, so that's what I do. And then when they come in, I always just say to them, don't tell me anything you're going to talk about. It's not up to me, And that time's gone. You're not changing that 15 minutes before the show. That's done on paper. And I just make them feel welcome. I go, Dad, you'll be right. Do what you need to do. If you feel like if you need to do 10, if I said do 10 minutes and you get to 6 and you feel like you've had enough, get off. Like just say, you guys have been great. I'd now like to bring on the next person or whatever. The audience doesn't have a timer on you. In fact, they didn't even know you were going to be here. So just have some fun and give it a go. It's a wonderful activity, and they're in a state of like fight and flight, and it's cool for me, and I've seen people die from that, but God, I've seen some I've seen some people kill it, and they float off stage. They remember me forever. Mm-hmm. And I just have the biggest smile on my face, and I just go like, congratulations, well done.
Yeah, and because you gave them that chance.
Yeah. I mean, no, but they took it.
Absolutely, yeah.
They took it and ran. Like it's, a door opened for them, and they just picked it up and kicked a goal. So, yeah. I'm happy. That makes me happy.
Good on them.
Yeah. It's surprisingly, though, it's more people do well than they don't.
Yeah. Mm. More people do well than they don't. Mm-hmm. And do you know, will they continue? Will they keep going?
It's up to them.
It's up to them.
Yeah, that's up to them. But yeah, some people have gone and done some really cool stuff. And also, if someone does bad, I never tell them. I go, that was good, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then...
You got up there?
I've done it.
Yeah.
I've done it. Yeah. I have no superiority because, I've just been in the game longer, but I've just been on I've been on that timeline, and I've done exactly what you've done. Like there's no shame in it. Yeah. Well, there is, but I won't let you know that I think that, They already feel bad enough for themselves. They don't need me telling them anything. So I just go, yeah, it was great, man. It was awesome. Yeah, it's cool. Tomorrow night? And they're like, oh, all right, I'll be better. I'm like, you're fine tonight. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
Good. Well, so you have an upcoming tour in Australia, mm-hmm. and then heading over to Europe before having a bit of a break.
Yep.
But if Europe was to be your last tour ever, what would you want people to remember about you?
Nothing. I just go live your life. Like I don't need to be remembered. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to remember. Like all this is for me. There's like when you start getting like fans, like they can just leave in a heartbeat. I'm not silly enough to think that I've made it forever. I am one outrageous post away from losing everything I've ever made at all times, right? Aren't you? Isn't anyone? Politicians have the same thing.
Something to go viral for the wrong reason.
Damn, of course, right? So I would one day I'd love to be not remembered. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Because it's all just a little bit, it's all just a bit silly. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense, and it's not important, and that's the way I like it.
Just having fun.
Yeah, having fun, giving back along the way, raise some money for some charity along the way, get some people a step up. New doors will open too. Like I don't know what the next chaos is that is going to be the best thing that ever happened to me, the fourth best thing that ever happened to me. I might also one day just think that something else is more important than all of this, and just be like, I'm going to do that now. I don't know what's coming up for me. So anyone who's seen the stuff along the way that's enjoyed it and they remember it for whatever reason, I just hope that it just makes their day a bit better when it's happened. I don't need anything else from them. I'm all good.
Yeah. Well, I have had so much fun. Thank you for coming to Timor-Leste.
That's no worries. It's been a pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of your time here, and I'll catch one of your other shows, I'm sure.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
That was Jarryd Goundrey, soldier, chef, comedian. Proof that reinvention doesn't erase who you were, it builds on it. What I loved about this conversation is the reminder that resilience, I'll have to find a new word for that now, but whatever the word is, it doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it looks like stepping back onto the stage after bombing and continuously making terrible decisions that may eventually work. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who's navigating their own pivot. Reinvention takes courage, passion, and determination. And sometimes it's easier when we do it alone and believe in ourselves. As always, thank you for spending time with me, Gabrielle as your host. This has been 68 Cups of Blueberry Tea, and I'll see you in the next conversation.